Hello, Internet Nation. Alex Shin Ashley here. I guess you can consider this a video diary as I want to talk about something with somebody, but I don't necessarily have anyone to talk to about it right now. But yeah, lately I've had the desire to see a therapist, but not for like any psychological reasoning. There is nothing that a therapist could offer me in regards to myself that can really help anything, I suppose. Seeing how my biggest internal issue is in regards to external factors. And there are very few therapists who have a grave understanding of, I suppose you can call it the existential crisis I've had for the entirety of my life. My biggest issue is the fact that my mortality and my immortality are in a constant disagreement, I suppose. I was raised to have a very limited mind in regards to self. I never really considered that I should hold back, so that I should hide, or that I should be something else in order to fit in, but I was constantly bombarded with that message from my mom. Therefore, it caused kind of a break in my psyche, where I began feeling bad in regards to doing the things that I wanted to, because I felt as though my mom would be ashamed. Which I guess you can say spread to a large field of things pertaining to my life, seeing as how my mom was not impressed by anything. Seeing as how, like, I got grades in the 90s where, like, all throughout middle school and high school, I don't know about elementary school, but it was probably the same too. Seeing as how schoolwork was just kind of like, whatever. It's fairly simple. Either you know the answer or you don't, and I usually tend to, like, know the answer. Like, math is simple when you know what you're doing. English is but a string of words. Science is science. If you understand it, you understand it. If these things come easy to you, then they come easy to you, you know? So the only time my grade dipped below a 90 was in, like, high school when I took AP classes, and it wasn't necessarily interested in the amount of work that came with AP classes, and I was only in one because I liked the teacher. But that wasn't good enough. My interest in music she tried to support, but she didn't enjoy that, and my classes pertain to her ability to pay for such leisurely things. It's constant abuse, I suppose, would just be the simplest way to put it. Constantly being told that I was a fuck up. But that's not, well, I suppose that could be a factor for such a strong sense of mortality. However you would describe that concept. I grew up believing as though, like, matter manipulation was a simple mind trick, something that you could do if you believed it, that you could. But when it came down to believing that I could do these things, there was always like that doubt. I always felt like afraid. So, what if I could do it, you know? What then? What does that mean? What do I do with that? What does it mean for this reality? We want to believe that everything is set, but it feels so weird to me living in these stone buildings, these houses, this construction of neighborhoods that are just people living together, but you don't really know each other. And none of these relationships mean anything. None of this really means anything. And when you think about it, like, animal norms, their lives doesn't really mean anything to them. They just go on about their day. They just do things, and it doesn't really make a difference. Well, it does make a difference, but it doesn't really make a difference. But we as humans take ourselves and everything so seriously, but it's like, why? You're gonna live and then you're gonna die. What's the point of trapping yourself in this spectrum, this norm that we created? Not even like nature-made norms. We aren't living, we're just surviving. I don't really understand. My fear is something that feels programmed into me. And every time I try to figure out why or what the solution may be, I always get this feeling of my mother. Sometimes I make this face that she makes. I don't really like that because that didn't start happening until I got depressed and felt open. And this is a very hostile environment. Just being here, this constant fear, constant anxiety, no matter how many times I sage everything, there just is no satisfying her. But then when you think about the people in your life as a reflection of yourself, and that just makes me wonder, is there no satisfying you? I can see how in like certain situations in the past, there have been moments in which I've needed more, but not because what I was getting wasn't good enough, but because it wasn't necessarily what I needed. It's a complicated subject, really, knowing what you need, but then always being told that you don't know what you need, or that you aren't correct, because when you're given what you need, then it doesn't work, when in actuality, I asked for this and got for that was kind of like this, but not really, not exactly that. And then being told for the entirety of your life that that's not what you need. You don't know what you need when you weren't really given what you asked for. Like, I got something recently that I wanted. It got down to the point where I was even arguing with myself if getting that would make me feel better. Would it make me less suicidal? Would it make those feelings of wanting to end it all go away? And then, for the most part, I got what I asked for. I got what I wanted. And it wasn't exactly as I wanted it, but the big picture was there. The bullet points were there. Everything that I would the emotion that I was going for precisely was hit upon. The action, the way of getting there was not 100% accurate, but at the same point, I'd gotten those things that I hadn't necessarily asked for. And I felt better after that. I basically did. I'm very in tune with the things that my body does off of verbal triggers. Just like scratching my face, messing with my fingers. I always try to pay attention to what it is I said that triggered that. I would really like to get into an in-depth conversation with somebody in regards to subconscious behaviors. Like, I would like to have a conversation with somebody where it's like, oh, I do this subconsciously when I get anxious. Like, when people come up to me on the subway and start talking to me about Cthulhu. I'll let you know this now. I enjoy talking to strangers, especially about Cthulhu, because I enjoy spreading the information and showing people that she's not harmful. She's not dangerous like some internet blogs and articles will have you believe. Ferrets are. I mean, I know it depends, varying on personality. Cthulhu is extraordinarily easy from day one. Even the ferret habits that usually have to be trained out of her kind of phased out. Now she's like docile and harmless and all this stuff. Kid friendly, if you will. What was I saying? Either way, it'd be nice to have somebody to talk to about subconscious things like that. Oh, I remember what I was saying. Play with my, usually fingers, I guess, straps of my hoodie. I was thinking that I was wearing this sweater. These things. Those things, what have you, when people talk to me, when I interact with strangers, even if I enjoy the conversation, I kind of just wish they would just go away. I find people to be very unpredictable, and that unpredictability is frightening, if you will, and stressful and tedious, and I just don't like subjecting myself to such things, especially when I know it's just like a casual interaction. I gave this girl my number a long time ago. I don't think or did she give me her number? We may have given each other our numbers. Oh well. Either way, maybe I'll look her up on Facebook if she gave me a name. What else? I feel trapped by my anxiety. The other night, I recall staying up, having many heart attacks over paranoia that I felt. And half of it was just me laying there, observing how crippling that anxiety was, to the point where I was just laying in bed, and all that I could focus on was the sound of people moving and thinking that we were now in trouble and that they had discovered the thing that I did that I didn't want anybody to know that I did. And just witnessing how petrified I was. There's a lot of fear. And I've been like that for as long as I can remember. It goes as deep as being a part of my masturbation routine, instilling that fear and anxiety. So I guess that's my cornerstone, if you will. I wonder if the androids, if the hosts from Westworld, have childhoods, if they remember that far back. Probably not, because that would have to be like multiple childhoods. Memories of multiple childhoods. But I mean, I guess if they're all programmed to do one thing over and over and over again and really got redistributed, then it wouldn't really matter. Or they could have similar childhoods, but yeah, I'm not overthinking that. Morality. I know that nothing... I keep trying not to say it, but it's true. Nothing matters. Nothing ever mattered. Nothing will ever matter. Like, there's human history, and human history doesn't really mean shit compared to the rest of the universe. Like, we're just a blip. A blip of people who can't stop killing each other because we don't know how to talk things out. Because we're too afraid, because we think too much with our reptile brain. Like, we may be advanced animals, but how advanced are we as animals if we're so smart we can't talk these things through? I don't know. Never really felt like a human. And if being human means being such an animal, then I guess I don't want to be. No, there's more to being human than just being an animal. He said a bad word. I don't know if you heard that, but it was loud enough, so it probably got picked up. He said a bad word. You know, I wonder if I would have gotten views if I put this up as a story or went live on Facebook. Who knows? For the most part, it feels like life just kind of happens to me. It doesn't really matter what happens. Never really felt like anything really had a huge impact on anything. Like it was just a life. People want to do interesting things. They want to go out, they want to have experiences, but all my memories, I'd go places with my dad, and I don't even remember going to those places, but I remember being with my dad. I enjoyed spending time with my dad because we actually did stuff. We shared experiences together. He was involved in them with me. Which is why I grew so close to my dad, because we actually did things. We talked. He was understanding. Every time my mom called him to tell him that I breathed. I have a really big fear of getting in trouble. I keep just saying, you know what, fuck it. I don't know why I'm afraid, because at the end of it, it's not like I'm not going to get through it. It's not like I'm not going to get past it. And it's not like it's not going to matter at some point. It doesn't matter. Not to me. But I fear that it will. never go away because my mom likes to hold things over my head. So I guess in the long run, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid of people being ashamed of me because I'm used to people being ashamed of me. And I just wanted to be loved and accepted. I have all this information as to why I feel the way I do. The only really real reason I want to talk to a psychiatrist is because they would actually tell me what to do with that information. Like, just admitting certain things doesn't make it go away. It doesn't change how you feel. People say that, like, admitting it is the first step, but every time I've admitted something, it doesn't make me feel better about any of that stuff. Like, I would like to have a relationship with my mom, but she literally has nothing good to say about anything and complains about all these little things that don't really matter. Like, I could look completely normal, smell like roses, and spend every day pretending to be something that I'm not. Would that mean that I got a job somewhere? Maybe. Maybe not. What if I was still the same person? Actually, if I was still the same person, would I still be bland and fit in? I don't really think so. I've been told that I was wrong for the entirety of my life before I even started speaking my opinion or showing who I was. Things like this. I've always been worried or concerned, but I never really knew how to change that, even when I knew that it shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm scared if in the long run I'm not really scared. If something bad were to happen, I would just face it. And bad things usually don't happen. Yeah, it's almost like I've been programmed to think bad things all the time. How do you get over that? How do you go to just being active? Like, even if I took Adderall to focus, anxiety would still come up, and after some point there would just be anxiety bubbling in my midsection. Just there. Very present. Like, it just pulled it out of somewhere. And the last time I did shrooms, this thick layer of anxiety became present. Like, I knew it was always there, and I knew I shouldn't be scared of it because I was always feeling it. I just don't know how to let it go. Like, my best friend just texted me. What am I up to? I'm video vlogging. Hi, Alexis, even though you probably don't watch this. You just texted me. But yeah. I'm gonna respond after I finish this. What was I saying? Anxiety, fear, right. I once pulled a knife on my friend to get her out of my house because my mom was coming home and I was freaking out, and there was already the toaster had caught on fire, and she had blamed me and said that I did something wrong. So I was already freaking out because my mom was probably gonna be pissed at me for something that could have just happened spontaneously because, it's a toaster and sometimes they break and the things don't pop up, so they never turn off. And, when you burn food too much, it explodes into fire. It's nothing that I could do while out of the room, As a human, I'm just conditioned. You put something in the toaster, push the thing down, and then it finishes and pops up. That's how bad my anxiety gets. That was the gist of that. I'm not a violent person per se. I can keep my violence under wraps. But as far as like my mom goes, it gets pretty severe. Because she just like comes at me for everything. So I'm always tense, I'm always anxious, I'm always afraid. So I've come to realize that the best thing to do is to just like detach from her, like make her mean nothing. But I don't know how to ignore someone when they bombard you every day. Like, if I wasn't living here in her house, I'm sure that would be fine. It would just be as simple as not talking to her, which, even that's a problem, You can't raise a child and never talk to them and then yell at them every time they try to talk to you about something and then make them cry every time they try to talk to you and then tell them that they're a little bitch, not in those words, I'm paraphrasing here. Every time that you caught them crying for, very valid reasons, even though they weren't the actual reasons, but, Why does a 8-year-old exactly have to have the cognitive... What's the word I'm looking for? The knowledge that it's better to lie about the reason that they're crying because their parent won't understand. They have to come up with something that seems more logical. I don't remember the actual reason why I was crying. I just remember this one time that I was crying and my mom came into my room and asked why I was crying, and I said I was crying because I missed my sister, because my sister had gone off to the army and she had sent me some CDs to listen to, and they were my first ever CDs, and I was listening to them and I was crying. I don't even remember why, but I already just said that. And then she yelled at me for some reason. I don't remember what she said, but it just made me feel worse. Just so abusive. I don't understand. A huge part of me is bothered by the fact of how abusive my mom is. You made me and you carried me and my cells formed inside of your womb. How can you resent something that you brought into this world so much? How can you be so heartless to tell your child that nobody will ever love them and then hand them a knife and tell them to kill themselves and then deny it like a fucking asshole? Like a psychologically damaged asshole. These are very valid points to say to a psychiatrist. Are they? I don't know. I only talked to a psychiatrist once, and that was specifically to get medication that he totally gave me. Who knows? But my therapist seemed rather more understanding, I suppose. Some more understanding. But I didn't really have a conversation. That's my mom. Okay. So, Mom is coming home. I'm gonna end this here. Bye, Internet Nation. Mayhaps I will continue later. Mayhaps not. Who knows?